You know, when we talk about community, it's so easy to get bogged down in, well, etiquette or our own preferences or just being nice. But what if the very shape of our relationships isn't something we're supposed to design at all? What if it's meant to be revealed through someone else? This isn't about just trying harder to get along. It's about understanding that for a Christian, your whole posture toward other people is meant to be cruciform, literally shaped by the cross of Christ.
Okay, let's just dive right in. We're actually starting at the end, with the grand conclusion of this whole passage. This one sentence, wow. It's beautiful, it's staggering, and it is deeply challenging. But to really feel the weight of it, we have to go back and understand the journey that gets us here.
So let's rewind. The Apostle Paul is writing into a real-world crisis. See, the church in the city of Rome, it wasn't this perfect, unified little group. No, it was a messy, volatile mix of different backgrounds, different histories, a lot of suspicion, and a whole lot of pride that was dressing itself up as spiritual maturity.
On one side of the room, you've got Jewish believers. Their entire lives, their very consciences, were shaped by the laws of the Old Testament. You know, what you can and can't eat, which days you have to honor. And then, on the other side, you've got Gentile believers who felt this radical new freedom from those very laws. Two completely different worlds, now trying to share one church. And, well, you can guess what happened, right? The strong, the ones who felt free, they started to look down on the weak, despising them for what they saw as silly, unnecessary rules. And the weak, they fired right back, judging the strong for being reckless and undisciplined. So you've got contempt on one side and condemnation on the other. This community was breaking apart.
So right into the middle of this mess, Paul speaks. He gives a direct command, and you can find it in Romans chapter 15, verse 1. And he starts by talking to the strong, revealing something huge, that spiritual strength isn't a privilege to be enjoyed. It's a profound responsibility to be carried.
And check out this word he uses, obligation. This isn't, hey, it would be really nice if you could. No, this word means a debt. Paul is saying that if you are strong in your faith, you are in moral debt. The grace you've received doesn't just free you, it makes you responsible for others. You actually owe them.
So what is this debt? What's the obligation? To bear with the failings of the weak. And we've got to be so careful here. Our modern idea of tolerance is often just putting up with someone from a safe distance, right? This is not that. Not even close. And it is certainly not about putting on some big show of patience, sighing dramatically, while you barely endorse someone you find difficult. The original language here paints a picture that is so much more active and honestly pretty startling.
The word bear here, it literally means to carry, to physically lift up a heavy burden and place it on your own shoulders. It's an act of complete solidarity. Just like you see here, your strength isn't for you to win arguments. It's for you to lift the burdens of someone else. This is an active, costly kind of love.
Now, if you're hearing this command to carry other people and you're thinking there is no way I can do that, well, you're absolutely right. You can't. Because this command isn't based on our own strength or our own willpower. It is anchored entirely in the one who first carried us.
This right here is the little phrase that changes everything. All Christian ethics, how we're supposed to live, it's all grounded in the incarnation. The reason we are supposed to live this way is because Christ himself is our foundation and our pattern. I mean, think about it. If he had lived to please himself, none of us would be saved.
Just think about what Jesus was entitled to. By every right, as the Son of God, he could have just stayed in the glory of heaven. He could have completely avoided the pain and humiliation of the cross. He could have demanded the worship that he was owed, and he could have judged the world instantly for its rebellion. He had every right to.
But he didn't. Instead of pleasing himself, he stepped into our weakness. He chose to carry the shame and the insults that were meant for us, that belonged to us. And this wasn't just some random act of kindness. It was the deliberate fulfillment of a pattern that was woven all through the Old Testament scriptures.
Paul quotes directly from Psalm chapter 69. It's a psalm about a righteous person suffering unjustly. And this shows so brilliantly that the entire story of Scripture was getting us ready for a Messiah who wouldn't claim his own comfort, but would absorb the curse for his people.
So all of this, the division in the church in Rome, the command to carry each other, the pattern of Christ's own life, it all brings us right back to that powerful, practical command we started with. It's time to bring this gospel down to earth and apply it to our relationships.
This is the question. This is the one that has to reframe everything for us.
Before we start measuring anyone else, before we decide who's worthy of our time or our patience, we have to stop and ask ourselves, how did Christ welcome me? It wasn't cautiously. It wasn't after I cleaned up my act.
He welcomed you while you were still his enemy, while you were mired in sin. He welcomed you in your total weakness and your ignorance. He welcomed you when you were completely, 100% undeserving of his love. And he did it at the highest possible cost, the price of his own blood. If that is the welcome we've received, how can we dare to refuse it to others?
So this, right here, this becomes the true test of our spiritual maturity. It's not about how correct our theology is or how free we feel in our conscience. It all comes down to this one searching question. Do you carry the weak, the struggling, the person who is different, the same way that Christ, the ultimate strong one, carried you in your ultimate weakness? Because Christ didn't come to win an argument. He came to bear our shame. And so if the faith you hold makes you sharper in your debates, but not any softer in your heart, if it makes you feel stronger in your own convictions, but not any gentler with actual people, then maybe, just maybe, you have not yet truly understood the Christ you claim to follow.